the question is, how do you get people in power in a modern industrial society? How do you run things with the people in power? The people themselves should be in power making the decisions. That's beautiful. Who the hell's against that? And raise your hand if you're against the people themselves. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. What do you do? How do the people themselves, joining in, participating in a consensus in the give and take, how do you fight off 80 Nazi divisions doing that? How do you go east of the Urals and build a whole new industrial base because you know you're going to be attacked from the west in within 10 years? I mean, how do you do that? How do you run a modern airline with the people in power? So an untrammeled, participatory, anarcho-spontaneous way of doing it, the people directly ruling, it's beautiful. Who the hell could be against it? I love it. I wish that could be done. How do you do that? I don't know. I don't know if I'd get on an airline that was run by the people. I would get on an airline that was owned by the workers who owned that airline and were caring for it, but even those workers, I'd like to have an outside audit. Because what we have discovered, ladies and gentlemen, is that even workers can get corrupt. They can start stealing out of the till. They can start goofing off and all that sort of thing. It's a very utopian view. It's like the free market view. There's a whole bunch of talk going on now about the free market. And I say to students the same thing. I'd like to see you get on an airline that was run purely on free market principles. First of all, you wouldn't have an airport. Your airports are socialist. You know that? Your free market private airplanes go to socialist airports that have been paid for by the people of America through our taxes, with air controllers that are paid for by us, with a union that was busted by our president and all that. But those airports are regulated by the state, by the federal government. Why? Because airliners don't give a hoot about that part of it. They don't make any money out of building the airport and regulating all that. They make money by getting the passengers through. So we have to, the public sector always has to come up, sweeping up, cleaning up behind the private sector, and then the private sector can turn around and say, you see how much debt and problems they have and how terrific we work. I'd like to see you get on an airplane that was run purely on free market principles. Purely by an executive that says, I'm going to maximize profits with no regulations of any kind. You know what you'd have? You'd have like that New Yorker cartoon. You ever see a ticket counter, an airport ticket counter, and they had two signs that said, maintenance, no maintenance. What would you pick?